Welcome back to the Cossy channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. It's no longer a secret that Arsenal are getting closer and closer to signing a centre forward, and right now they're focusing on Benjamin Sesko this summer. And Benjamin Sesko is a big fan of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. In fact, a few people have actually said that Benjamin Sesko could be the reincarnation of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. There's a lot of talk that Sesko is going to be one of the best strikers in the world, and the reason for that is all the data in the world suggests that this guy on your screen has the attributes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic in terms of height, in terms of shot power, in terms of pace, in terms of aerial ability. He's a bully, just like his icon, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So in this video, let's dive into what makes this guy a special player. If you're 22 and you're not scoring 50 goals, 70 goals, but Arsenal, we know Arsenal are such a very careful club with their spending. Arsenal are willing to spend upwards of 70 million to sign Benjamin Sesko. There is something special about Benjamin Sesko, and by the end of this video, you and I, who don't believe in Sesko, you will understand that Arsenal are signing a monster. And if Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal team could work with him for the next 2-3 years, Arsenal could be making a very dangerous weapon. This is the reason as to why Arsenal are signing Benjamin Sesko. But this is the reason why Benjamin Sesko could be one of the best strikers in the world, as data is suggesting. Now, I want to start off with a very simple thing that Arsenal really don't have, and that is the box presence effect of a player like Benjamin Sesko. So he's one of those players that have got a unique ability, and Arsenal don't have this, right? So as a centre forward, if you're playing for Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, or one of these modern managers, you're required a lot to drop into the middle of the park and help out with ball progression and build up. So what we saw last campaign a lot was that Arsenal were pumping the ball a little bit more in the air and asking the likes of Kai Havertz to bring it down and asking the likes of Michel Marino to bring it down. And this is not a coincidence, because Mikel Arteta over the last 3 years has been building players and has been building a team that is made of giants. Kai Havertz, tall and physically very, very fit. Michel Marino, tall and physically very able. And Benjamin Sesko is very close to that. Is very, very close to that profile. But Arsenal have a problem, and it's the lack of box presence from players like Kai Havertz and from players like from players like Michel Marino and Gabriel Jesus. And that's why you see in my notes, I've written, no one at Arsenal actually does this, right? That is the box presence effect. No one at Arsenal actually comes in to give us that box presence. All our players are very good centre forward players. Kai Havertz up top will receive the ball, has the ability to glue the ball onto his body, and then maybe play it into Odegaard, play it into Saka, play it into an arriving Skelly or Martinelli, and Arsenal can progress the ball quickly high up the pitch. But then the problem is this, right? So if you look at this heat map, this is the heat map of Benjamin Sesko last season. And what you're seeing there is that this is a player who is happy to drop outside the penalty area. Actually, he shifts more to the left-hand side rather than to the right-hand side. And maybe that could be an advantage for a player like Gabriel Martinelli to swap positions with Benjamin Sesko. We might see Martinelli become better. But what I want to show you is this. Benjamin Sesko doesn't just stay in the penalty area. He gets involved in play, and you can see the heat map. But look at the red areas on that heat map. The red areas are where the player spends much of his time, right? And much of his time is behind the penalty area on the left-hand side and also in the penalty area. Again, if you look at the Sky Sports heat map of the player, it is the same. This guy has got the ability to come out of the penalty area, link up play, and do all the good stuff that we get from Gabriel Jesus, do all the good stuff that we get from Kai Havertz, but then get time to be in the penalty area, right? Look at where his goals are coming from. Right here, after the heat map, on the other side, is the shots. It's kind of a touch map of the shots that he's actually taking. Although he's got a very good ball scoring ability, he's got a lot of shots in the penalty area. That is one thing that Mikel Arteta has been trying to address this summer at Arsenal. Although you want your players to have this all-round ability, come out of the penalty area and impact the game, they should also be having that box presence if they're going to play as a number 9. And Benjamin Sesko solves that problem at Arsenal right away. We are getting a player who's got that ability to just hang around the penalty area for some time, and then that means that if you create chances from Saka, from Odegaard, we can have someone that can take those chances that are created in the penalty area. And then if Arsenal want to score a shot out of the penalty area and maybe a link-up play and do the other good stuff, he can also do that very well as well. So that's the first reason as to why this guy is actually a monster, like people are creating him. Because you look at Alexander Isak, you look at Erling Haaland, but all these strikers have got a lot of time spent in the penalty area, despite the fact that they come out and link up play and do all the great stuff. Now, the second reason as to why Arsenal really wanted to go for this guy is his aerial ability. Now, anyone is going to say, Cossy, why are you talking about the aerial ability of Benjamin Sesko? We've got that in abundance. Kai Havertz has got a very good aerial ability. That is true. And Michel Marino is also able in the air. That is true as well. So Arsenal really are not desperate for players that can jump and head the ball. But then I want you to look at the line below. I've written below aerial ability. He flies higher than Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, this might be a little bit of an exaggeration of his powers. Maybe he doesn't fly higher than Cristiano Ronaldo. But I know you've seen these clips online, on Facebook, on Twitter, where he's jumping at unimaginable levels, like unprecedented levels. That is not by mistake. Sesko is a tall player, a very fit player, a very professional athlete, but most importantly, this is something I've already said. Victor Gyökeres, he's not short. He's not very short, right? But we don't see enough of his aerial ability. We don't see enough of him scoring goals for the head. And again, that could be due to the fact that Sporting and the way they play, they just don't give a fuck about crossing balls and your striker scoring headers. But with Benjamin Sesko, if you're that tall, right? If you've got that height, I think it's like 6'4", 6'5". If you got that height, you've got to be using it, and he utilizes it very, very well. And he's proud of it, right? So for Arsenal, when I was writing this, I was like, for Mikel Arteta, this is another weapon. You could have guns, right? And you have maybe you have grenades and you have pistols and all that. And then someone gives you a sniper rifle. Yes, you have guns. You have got guns before, but the range on a sniper rifle is much better. Now, Sesko would be a sniper rifle at Arsenal in the air. And let's be honest, right? How many players at Arsenal are flying like Benjamin Sesko? How many players are really flying in the air like Benjamin Sesko? There are not so many, right? There are not so many. That's what I thought. There are not so many players in Arsenal that are flying as high as Benjamin Sesko. So imagine the threat Gabriel Magalhaes poses to any team when we are in set-piece situations, right? In fact, Arsenal score most set pieces by the fact that Gabriel Magalhaes is on the pitch, whether he scored the goal or not. Now, we added Michel Marino, and Michel Marino is a devastating player, a devastating figure in the air. And now enter Benjamin Sesko, ladies and gentlemen. Arsenal are going to become this terrifying force in the air. And what Mikel Arteta is trying to do, I was watching, was it Mikel Obi? Yeah, Mikel Obi on the Mikel Obi podcast. And it was saying that Mikel Arteta has had about $1 billion and is creating a team that has to rely on headers in order to win games. And I was like, that is a simplistic way of looking at it. Look at Declan Rice. He's a great guy on the ball, but he's also got a great height, and he can be a very, very good player if worked with in the air. Michel Marino has got look at the goal he scored against Madrid. That tells you about the ability of this guy. But in the air, he's a very devastating player as well. Look at Kai Havertz, look at Gabriel Magalhaes. These guys are not just there to head in balls. They have great abilities with their feet, but Mikel is like, if I can have you with great abilities on your feet, let me have you with great abilities with your head as well. So that is the second thing that Arsenal are targeting with Benjamin Sesko, and it makes Arsenal even devastating in set-piece situations. And then we've got this. The shot power on this guy needs to be investigated, not by the FBI, not by the local police. I think Mossad and CIA have got to combine in order to understand, how does this guy do it? How does he strike the ball the way he does, right? And I'm sorry, maybe I overrated him, but I said Roberto Carlos power, ball hitting technique. That's what, because that is what I can think about. I know you've seen these shots on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, right? Where he just powers the ball. He literally just powers the ball. The reason as to why he's able to do that, he's got a very good ball hitting technique. And he's not the only player to do that at Arsenal. Declan Rice with these, swirls and curls. And then you've got Martin Odegaard outside the penalty area. And then you add another player. Enter Benjamin Sesko. Obviously, we know that Saka's got that ability to score top bins like Salah, right? That one we already know. We don't need to talk about him. So Benjamin Sesko is again another player that offers Arsenal a unique opportunity. Can we hit them from outside the penalty area? Yes, we can. Because there are some games where it's going to be tough. There's some games where it's going to be frustrating. You can't break a team down. You have to kill a man if you're going to go through them. So what do you do there? Do you just take a point? Do you just, maybe lose the game? No, you don't, right? You go to plan B and plan C and plan D. And maybe plan A is pass it around and pass it around and pass it around. Maybe plan B is crosses. Maybe plan C is, can we get some set pieces in and around the penalty area? And then plan D, release those balls. Just let them fly. And one of the players that have got that ability is Benjamin Sesko. Now, this is also something that Arsenal fans love about Alexander Isak. The goal Alexander Isak scored against Liverpool last season, you remember? I think the game was 2-2, right? It ended 2-2, but the first goal of the game. What a shot. Oh my God. And he's got that ability to confuse defenders, right? Alexander Isak's so talented. But in terms of hitting the ball and striking it with a lot of power and cleanly, Isak is on another level. And Benjamin Sesko, and why people are saying that he's going to be one of the best in the world, he's got that ability as well. On top of being in the penalty area, being good with his head, being very, very clinical, he's got that, ability as well. And then we've got to talk about his pace, because this Arsenal team suffers with transitions, right? Under pace have written and said, runs quicker than Isak. Is it quicker than Isak though? On the ball, I think Isak is quicker, because Isak has got this ability to just run with the ball and beat players as if they don't exist. With Sesko, he's got a much better speed limit without the ball. If the ball was behind them, Martinelli, Sesko, and Saka, and Isak, and you have a player like Odegaard who we know will find them. Okay, maybe not Odegaard, because Odegaard at times has disappointed me, right? And I have a player like, which one player can I trust? Jorginho, right? And I have a player like Jorginho that I know will find their runs. Who do I want to be sprinting ahead, and then the ball comes in? I'm going to go with Sesko. I think Sesko is fast and lightning quick. So that is something that Arsenal can benefit from, especially that we've been crying with, mid blocks, right? So because teams set up in the middle of the park, they leave spaces in behind, and guess who can exploit that space? Martinelli, Saka, and then enter Benjamin Sesko. And finally, one of the key things that make a player great is his work ethic and discipline. And, we've had so many things about, player power these days and players disobeying orders and players doing this and that. Sesko is not one of those players. He's a very, very disciplined player. He's a very humble soul, right? He's not your Garnacho. He's not your Marcus Rashford, right? So what I want to mean here, though, is his ability to press and keep running. Because for Arsenal, you're either pressing and you keep him running, or you're useless in this team. And he's got a very, very good work ethic. Obviously, he's not the finished product. There's so many things that Sesko has got to work on. One, his first touch. It is bad. Guys, I've seen people sugarcoat it. It is bad. His first touch is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then the other thing that he's got to work on, he strikes balls from long distances, but he's got to work on them as well. Like, the accuracy of those long fireballs has got to improve. And also his clinical nature has got to improve. Now, he's one of the players that are overscoring their XG, which tells you that he scores good goals from difficult chances. And he's scoring more goals than the quality of chances he's actually getting. But he's not one that is a sure deal like Erling Haaland, right? If Erling Haaland misses, we are like, oh, how did Erling Haaland miss that? Or we're like, oh, Haaland missed that. With Sesko, it's still in between, oh, you missed it. Okay, we hope it gets better. But he is a good player, and if Arsenal sign him, we should back him because we're getting a hell of a good guy.